There has been a huge cloud of negativity kind of circling around Dragon Age Veilguard ever since it initially got revealed, but today the first reviews have started to come out and the scores are surprisingly positive. But I want to talk because there is a bit of a conspiracy theory that to some degree these are overly positive sort of by accident, but let's discuss. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, I will admit that I think a lot of the negativity around Dragon Age Veilguard has just been that the early trailers, the looks at the faces, the voice acting and stuff, it wasn't as polished as they possibly predicted, but additionally, this is the newest game by BioWare that's definitely had a very rough last decade. I mean, when a lot of us think of BioWare, we think of their classic stuff that was incredibly good. I don't know, Jade Empire, things like KOTOR, or of course, Mass Effect and Dragon Age. But now, lately, we had Mass Effect Andromeda, which might be one of the worst sequels of all time, and the complete flop of Anthem. So the fact that they managed to sort of put something out good and give it such a crazy high score, this is pretty dang impressive. So this is Open Critic. It's kind of like Metacritic, but specifically for video games. And currently, it has an 85. So reviews have just started to come out. Here, let's refresh it. So it's down to 84. I have a strong feeling that this score is going to keep going down a bit. I don't think it's going to drop down to the 70s, but this has been an interesting time because it does seem like they were carefully handpicking which people got review scores. Now, this is a bit of a conspiracy theory, but I have seen a lot of people talking about it, which is the fact that a lot of very big creators that had a chance to play it early and make content early that were more negative, some of those people got denied review codes. It did seem like they were trying to hand pick is kind of the talking point on the street. They're trying to find people that would actually get it. I am seeing videos like this where they're saying, this is the truth about the reviews. We're not going to have any content available. It is a bit strange to me, but I think Critic of ACG, this guy, I think his take here is correct. He goes, I didn't get a code for Dragon Age, but no one is ever owed a code. Can't speak towards anything else. I guess this is kind of my thing, is that I see a lot of times where big reviewers that I love a lot, like it's crazy to me that SkillUp didn't get a code, because SkillUp, in my opinion, is one of the best reviewers out there. Huge fan of his. So the fact that they're kind of handpicking it, this isn't too outside the realm. This has happened in the past where certain times developers are trying to, of course, get the highest scores possible on Metacritic to sell extra copies. But additionally, sometimes it's just about if they only have 50 codes to give out, all right, we're going to hit GameSpot and IGN and PlayStation Lifestyle and Xbox Era and stuff. YouTubers are always the bottom of the ladder, so sometimes they're much more choosy about the people they pick to work with the most. So this is a bit odd, but to me, it's not really raising any red flags. Like, I talk to people behind the scenes and stuff. I hear stuff behind the scenes, and I do 100% think this is just one of those times where they picked 50 people that they thought would probably give them the best score because they're trying to sell copies, right? It's a little strange. It's a little scuzzy in its own way, but I'm not going to call conspiracy. But here's the thing that is interesting. So almost every review I've seen has been pretty dang positive. We're going to take a look at some blurbs. This is one of the ones that was the most negative, which was Jordan Midler over at VGC, where essentially he talks about the fact that the new characters are great, the gameplay is weak. Incredibly dated mission design left me disappointed. Now, what's interesting is I've also seen the exact opposite. In some blurbs, they're saying that they didn't care as much about the story, but instead, they were actually bigger fans of the new combat system. I have to say, I'm very curious to play this. As of now, I've probably seen 20 minutes of gameplay, 18 minutes of gameplay, not a ton of this, just because the initial reveals of it, I did think the facial animations, just the way they look, there's a joke I heard a long time ago where they were showing some sort of fantasy character in, like, I think Game of Thrones, and they said, that's the kind of face that knows what an iPhone is. Like, meaning sometimes you see a character that is such a modern looking character with such perfectly done facial animations and stuff. They look a little bit too modern for like an old school, ancient fantasy setting, right? this game kind of has that vibe to me at times, but let me go here. Dragon Age The Veilguard refreshes and reinvigorates this storied series with enjoyable action combat, a fantastic cast of companions, and moving writing. No, it doesn't. It's bad. So it's interesting the amount of people that are instantly kind of saying something about this is sus. So I want to do something here, which is right now, while I'm recording this, we're going to press refresh. All right, so it's still at an 84. Let's look at 37 critic reviews. So as it currently stands, it does look like a lot of them are pretty positive. Wow, there's actually some perfect scores in there. A 5 out of 5 by Eurogamer. Dang. Let's see. Can we search by most negative? Sort by rated lowest to highest. So there are a couple low scores. Now, I've done this in other videos. I'm not trying to bag on it specifically, but usually my train of thought is that I'm always curious about the negative reviews, because even if I disagree with it, I'm always kind of curious to see what things people get stuck on, which points kind of grabbed their attention in a negative mindset the most. So let's actually take a look at a couple negative blurbs, and we'll take a look at some positive blurbs. But here it is. This isn't the Dragon Age I was expecting. In this respect, the game must be rated low. However, as an action RPG with a flair and a beautiful fairy tale world, it turns out to be decent, and sometimes even more than that. So, not to bag on this guy, but it almost sounds like that type of thing where you overhype yourself, where you're expecting it to be the greatest, most life-changing game of all time, and it comes out and it's just okay, so you skew it lower. But I definitely, it's one of the things where I can't overly criticize a Dragon Age fan it not living up to their own Dragon Age potential, but here we go. That was Game Pressure, a website I will admit I've never heard of. From The Guardian, there's lots of things to do in this huge and beautiful fantasy world, but inconsistent writing and muted combat dulls its blade. Now, I will admit, I've played some games with good story that had bad combat, and of course I've played games that had great combat and bad story, but the fact that so many people are talking over and over again about not liking the combat, that to me is perhaps the most detrimental. I am still interested in buying this, playing this, beating this, but just hearing over and over again how bad it is to fight, that to me is honestly very worrying. Now, we saw that Jordan Miller blurb. Let's take a look at this one here. Jenny Mesler of CBR says, the final verdict on Dragon Age The Veilguard for me is a positive overall. I'm really excited about exploring a second playthrough and taking my time to really let the world and everything I've learned sink in. I'm curious how long the game is, just because some BioWare games are 20, 50 hours. You know, they're very, very long, very, very deep, but I have heard this one is more linear, more focused, more centered on just trying to give you a great, great adventure. And to me, that's pretty cool. Here, just for funsies, let's actually Google how long to beat. So I'm seeing a lot of reports that it can take you about 60 hours to beat. I see this person here from Game Rant says it took them about 30 hours to beat. Unfortunately, The Veilguard is one of those games that takes a bit to warm up. I'm like 8 to 10 hours in, but the scope is about 65 hours. So this is a pretty long game. That's pretty dang long. So is this might be one of the longest BioWare games? Dang, that's kind of wild, to be honest. But if people say that the story is good, man, I feel like your story has to be really, really top-notch to keep people invested for over 50 hours. So the fact that people are giving it such good scores, in fact, you can see as I refresh this, there's way more perfect scores coming in. Honestly, a cranking out, like, really, really good 65-hour RPG to me sounds really, really good. But let's take a look at one last blurb here from Checkpoint Gaming. Dragon Age The Veilguard is a triumphant return to form for one of the gaming's most beloved developers. It's an epic and grandiose RPG adventure, interwoven with intimate, powerful stories about its cast of endearing and quirky companions. It has a stunning world to explore with hidden secrets, alluring side quests, and a literal treasure trove of lore to comb through. It's a tight, in-depth combat system, breadth of accessibility options deliver a highly personalized experience, but beyond the adventure itself, it's another shining testament to diversity and inclusion. Oh, people are going to love saying that. Polished to near perfection in its presentation. Put simply, Dragon Age The Veilguard is Dragon Age at its most captivating, a truly generational adventure that is as heartfelt as it is thrilling. Yeah, This sounds cool. After 100 hours and 3 playthroughs, The Veilguard, I am justified in my 10-year wait and satisfied with the result. Honestly, this sounds good. Like, maybe I'm just out there. I have not been watching. I know that there are some people that have been making a bunch of hate videos about how this game is going to bomb and stuff like that. But I'll be honest, this sounds really good. Like, as a Dragon Age fan, it's crazy to get another Dragon Age game, and it's not an Andromeda situation. It's not Mass Effect Andromeda Dragon Age. I have not bought this game yet, but I'll be honest, at this point, yeah, I'm scooping this up ASAP. I'm probably buying it on PS5, and once I'm done with my 18 other games I'm trying to play, this is next up. But what do you guys think about Dragon Age? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and please, if you could, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. I'm also about to be playing, I just installed, what is it, the Monster Hunter Beta, Monster Hunter Wilds. So I'm about to make a Monster Hunter Wilds video later today. Go watch that. Thanks for watching. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.